friends. Hope you guys are doing good. Today we're going to be talking about this man right here, Voltaire. Voltaire is a product of the 18th century, product of the Age of Enlightenment. In general, this 18th century is fast becoming perhaps my favorite of the centuries in human history. I can't really say why that is. It's probably because of the different figures and the achievements of the century. By the way, these white asterisks are periods that I haven't covered yet. So without further ado, let's head over to his Wikipedia page. François-Marie Arouet, perhaps Arouet. By the way, that's not Voltaire. We're noticing there's a difference here between this name and this name. So he was born in 94. He's born in 94. That is 1694. And he's known by his nom de plume, Voltaire. So nom de plume is a pseudonym. He was a French Enlightenment writer, a philosopher, a satirist, and historian. He's famous for his wit and for his criticism of Christianity, especially of the Roman Catholic Church, and of slavery. Voltaire was an advocate of freedom of speech, freedom of religion, separation of church and state. I just want to linger here for a moment. A lot of talk today. Let's say it a bit differently. These issues, freedom of speech, freedom of religion, and separation of church and state, are pertinent for 2025. I'm making this video right now. He is in fact talking of issues that are of supreme relevance today. Supreme. I want you guys to have that in the back of your mind as we explore Voltaire. Of course, a figure that is living 300 years into the past, speaking of issues, writing about issues that are, these are huge issues in today's world. So let's keep reading. Voltaire was a versatile and prolific writer, producing works in almost every literary form, including plays, poems, novels, essays, histories, and even scientific expositions. He wrote more than 20,000 letters and 2,000 books and pamphlets. Wow. Voltaire was one of the first authors to become renowned and commercially successfully internationally. Another thing to linger on. The world of the 18th century, we have to remember, is a world without electricity. And all of the electronic derivatives that we have today. That means no internet. That means no phones. This is a primitive world where word spreads either by moving a piece of paper with the writings of a person from A to B, through, horseback, or on a ship. There are books. We have printing presses, and people can read books. And there's newspapers. Something that I'm doing a lecture series. I'm studying a lecture series on Yale OpenCourseware. It's available on YouTube, and it's about English civilization, circa 1650 to modernity. I know, it's a long period of history. And it's composed of perhaps 20 lectures, maybe 21. The period about the Enlightenment mentions these places called academies. Academies were places where people would go to hear ideas, the proliferation ideas. Just what I want to explain, I guess, what I'm trying to say and what I'm trying to stress is that this is kind of a big deal. In those days, in the days of the 18th century, there weren't a lot of people that were world famous. Perhaps an American in the early, American colonies, perhaps he heard of Voltaire, and perhaps some Spaniard would hear about Voltaire, and an Italian. And because of this kind of international renown, he's considered, I guess, one of the first, successfully famous international authors, which is really cool. It also means that he wrote, I guess, a very successful novel, which we'll learn about soon. He was an outspoken advocate of civil liberties. And he was at a constant risk from the strict censorship laws of the Catholic French monarchy. So in those days, French was ruled by Catholics, and of course, a monarchy of absolute power that would censor any media that it found antithetical to the regime. So his polemics witheringly satirized intolerance and religious dogma, as well as French institutions of his day. So it seems like he's using satire to attack as attack vectors for different concepts that he's opposed to, like religious dogma. He also attacks other French institutions of his day, it says. So his best known work, his magnum opus, is Candide. It's a novella that comments on, criticizes, and ridicules many events, thinkers, and philosophies of his time. Most notably, Gottfried Leibniz, and his belief that our world is of necessity the best of all possible worlds. So, it seems that Gottfried, it insinuates that Gottfried is a optimist. He's so optimistic, in fact, that he believes that the world of the 18th century that he's living in is the best of all possible worlds. Something that Voltaire, I guess, finds repulsive and wrong. Okay, so let's move on. I want to skip over to his work. By the way, this is a decent article. It says here that it's locked. The lock symbol means it's locked for it's protected. It's semi-protected. So it's not easy to corrupt this file. So let's jump into his religious and philosophical views. So, like other key Enlightenment thinkers, Voltaire was a deist. So, deism is the philosophical position and rationalistic theology that generally rejects revelation as a source of divine knowledge, and asserts that empirical reason and observation of the natural world are exclusively logical, reliable, and sufficient to determine existence of a supreme, probably says being. Okay, so I do want to click in for a moment. So we believe as a deist. So let's just read this, because this is important. This is his worldview. So deism is a philosophical position and a rationalistic theology that generally rejects revelation as a source of divine knowledge, and asserts that empirical reason and observation of the natural world are exclusively logical, reliable, and sufficient to determine that the existence of a supreme being as the creator of the universe. Interesting. So, more simply stated, deism is the belief in the existence of God, often but not necessarily, an impersonal and incomprehensible God who does not intervene in the universe after creating it, solely based on the rational thought, without any reliance on revealed religions or religious authority. Wow. I'm actually quite shocked, because I thought this means something else. But the more I read it, the more, at least this first paragraph resonates. Because I've many times thought to myself that there is a hole in science, a hole in there's a gaping hole, sort of, even with the most advanced of theories. The lingering what came before question, which leads one to think that we don't know, we'll never know, which leads me to an agnostic position, a position of rejecting the effort of trying to answer the question, even. Although I do think it's an important question and worthwhile. But I don't think it's totally clear at this point. Nobody knows what is the ultimate mover of items, and it seems that deists just use all of their reason to show that perhaps there is a God who was the prime mover, but he has no effect on our lives, and it's futile to try to speak to this creator. And that, of course, these ideas of revelation are not the case with how he communicates with us. I like this. I respect this outlook on things. We're out of time for this one, but I'm gonna keep reading and go back to it. So we'll see you guys on our round 2 for Voltaire.